On the surface, this is a story about a one-man circus using nature to find my purpose. Under the water, I was feeling worthless, sinking from overthinking and carrying more weight than the Sherpas. Heartbreak had me nerveless. Why is it so hard moving on from something I assumed would last? Like a science freak, I critiqued all my failures from the past. See, that's the wrong way to perceive the glass. I channeled that energy toward realigning my mast, acknowledging that ride was a blast and supposedly the pain will pass. So where to from here? Which way would I steer if I knew how to control my fear? Maybe I'll just veer toward a case of beer and put my dreams on ice for another year.
Put down your phone for a second so I can have your attention. Put down your phone for 1 minute so we can have a conversation.
So today is the final day of a 6-day road trip that I've done solo up to the Gold Coast. Had some loose plans to come up and hang out with a few of my mates. They were pretty exciting and they didn't eventuate. And it's just been a shit trip, to say the least. But it started turning around yesterday.
Hey, I'm sure there's someone else with something more important to say. But until then, I'm living each and every fucking day. So when I take a breath, I do it like I swear I'm here to stay. Learned fear can be overcome when you realize the voice inside your head is not yours. It's an imitation of the voices from before, repeating on a loop inside your quiet core, receiving since your youth, when your choices weren't even yours. Perceiving was the proof, but reality has many doors, so why are we still fighting other people's wars?
Got a couple of fun things planned that are a bit sketchy. And yeah, just gonna see where the day takes me and hopefully cement the idea in my head that you don't need to be with a group of people to have an awesome time. Because if we're always sitting around waiting for an invite or waiting for someone to accept our invite, there's going to be a lot of awesome opportunities that roll on by, and I'm not willing to accept that. So it led me to the idea of trying to overcome my fear and making a little short film in between 10 hours of driving today.
It's hard for me to say yes. It's easier for me to say next year, when the weather's fine, when I have the money or the time or the relationship I want, or the career or the house or the car or the watch. Watch life pass me by waiting for an invitation when the world is greater than my nation or my occupation.
Fucking freezing. So I've been here for like the last hour. It's been an interesting session. I almost didn't swim, it's cold. Pretty unmotivated. But I ended up doing a couple of jumps off the waterfall. Under-rotated a double backy and felt like I got punched in the throat. But by the time I surfaced and then swam out, the pain was gone, so I went up and had another go at it. Happy I had another go. I went up to the rope swing and I had on this chesty mount. First time ever wearing it. I thought, yeah, this will be great. And so I did just a straight jump off the rope swing. And when I landed, this got ripped up over my head and I surfaced and my GoPro 9 had fallen off. So, lost my GoPro. It's in near the waterfall there somewhere. I just spent the last 15 minutes diving down to about 3 or 4 meters. Freezing my ass off, really struggling. And yeah, I gave it like a red hot go looking for it, but I give up. I hate to say it. about to wrap up the day then and there. And I just thought, like, I'm here because I want to be here. I'm not doing this solely just to get footage of it, so I may as well just try to do the thing I came here to do, which was flip the big rope swing. Went back up, had another crack at it, and sort of took off, and I was a little bit twisted and I almost didn't commit to it, but I sort of just hucked it last second and it felt absolutely amazing. So when you hit the water and you know you've got it, then that second or so where you're coming up to take a breath, like that feeling then, like, it's seriously like pretty hard to beat. Like half the time I'll come up and just like smack the water or punch it just because there's that much energy flowing through me. I've just got to get it out and do a bit of a yeehaw. It was pretty awesome sort of overcoming those fears. And like that only just is chapter one of the day. Heading to Dangar Falls, which is about an hour inland of Coffs Harbour. The plan there is to paddle off 25 metre waterfall with the sup. And it's something I've wanted to do for ages. The water levels are rarely high enough, and as of late the area's copped a ton of rain. Over the course of the past few years when exploring new waterfalls, I've always had in my mind, is this going to be the one? Is it high enough? Is it deep enough? Is the current going to be strong enough? And all signs lead back to Dangar Falls, although it's twice the size of an ideal waterfall to first attempt this on.
I want to truly view the world around me while I still can. I want to worship every flower, giving prayers over the land. I want to open up my eyes so wide that what I see expands, and the beauty beams so bright it overwhelms woman and man. Fuck a portal to the light. I want to scream, I want to fight, I want to eat and fucking drink, I want to touch, I want to think, I want to feel and taste and see, I want to live, I want to be, and I'd give anything but life because I'm dying to be me.
So I just did a little detour to Ballina to pick up this subboard that I'd been teeing up for the last couple of days. It's going to be $120 from Anaconda. It's pretty shitty, but I think it would have done the trick. Long story short, old mate got me confused with someone else that he was selling a tyre to, and I got there to pick it up and he wasn't home, and he'd left the tyre out to be picked up by me. And I'm like, what the hell? How did he manage to stuff that one up? And so what I'm thinking is a good alternative would be to buy a $50 blow-up raft from Kmart and see if I can just jump in and do it that way instead. I pinned it up to Clark Rubber, accidentally went into Super Cheap Auto first, and I'm like, where's my blow-up boat? And they're just looking at me like, what the hell are you on? And then they told me Clark Rubber was next door. Went into Clark Rubber right on full and had a bit of a yarn to the boys.
Does it have a waterfall rating?
Waterfall?
Yeah, like...
Nah, man, you're not gonna... We had some, like, inflatable like, kayaks that would have...
Yeah,
but
right.
we don't have them. We sold out of them this season.
Mm.
No, that thing's gonna... If you're taking that down a waterfall, it's just gonna get cooked.
Because have you heard of Dangar Falls?
Yeah, no way.
Oh. Well, you don't reckon?
No way.
I reckon it'd be fun.
For the one trip of last year.
Yeah, well, like, that's the plan. It's just got to get me over.
I reckon you could do it. In one trip. Get over Dangar Falls.
Yeah, it's just, I'll just start like 5-10 metres up, a little bit of rock hopping and see how we go.
What do you reckon, Russ? Do you think that thing would make it over Dangar Falls?
It doesn't have to survive the trip. It just needs to get me over the lip of the waterfall.
Can you film it?
Yeah, that's the plan this afternoon.
Snagged myself a $20 old school inflatable boat. I can still see while I'm driving, fucking stop wigging out. It doesn't have a waterfall rating on it, but I'm backing it. Over the past couple of days, I spoke to a few of my best mates that I trust a whole lot. Their opinion means the world to me most of the time. The general consensus was that I'm a fucking idiot if I do this without a safety person there. Valid point. I was really on the fence about it, and then right on cue, Mum called just to touch base, as she does every now and then. We ended up having a mad D&M for like an hour, and I talked about my idea for this film, talked about relationship stuff, just talked about all the juicy stuff that you like talking about with someone you trust and love. I told her about my plan, and can you imagine being a mother or a father and then your child telling you that they want to go off a 25-meter waterfall in a $20 blow-up boat? And I could just tell she was like wanting me to snap out of it. And then I did what I do, and I went in to justify my logic and say I'm going to be safe and do my risk assessment and all that bullshit to comfort her. And instead of saying I'm an idiot, she gave me the confidence to trust my gut in whatever decision I make. And that must have been like one of the hardest things for her to do, right? Like, she's always been good at doing that. Even though this week has been very anticlimactic for me, she said it sounds like it's not the week that I wanted, but it's the week that I needed. She hit the nail on the head. It's been a lot of time for me to process some of these thoughts that I've probably built up because I've just been go, go, go.
It's common to forget what life is all about. What is life all about? If all that counts is the numbers in our bank accounts. Happiness cannot be found by having an amount. It's what we do that counts. It's who we are to the people that we care about. It's who we are to the people we don't care about.
That's Dangar Falls, about 100 metres away from where I camped last night. Pretty awesome going to sleep, hearing that off in the background and then waking up to it. It's like it's calling my name. Last night, I called up my boss just after sunset and asked if I could get today off work because way too pressed for time yesterday. I got here at like 5:30. Sun sets at 6. So you don't want to be doing something really on your limits on such a short time frame. It's kind of nice not feeling like I'm on the clock. It probably wasn't the best confidence builder just yarning with the caretaker of this place. Glad I pulled him over for a chat. He's a bloody legend. I've never done an interview before. It's my first one. My name's Ben.
What's your name?
Ben.
Ben.
Yeah.
Pleasure to meet you, Ben. I'm Bill.
Bill.
Yeah.
How long have you owned this place for?
Oh, since 1970 something. I let my son have the farm. One of my boys have the farm, and I want this 20 acres here. Goes right down the creek there.
It's a beautiful property, and so you're still the main caretaker of this property.
Oh yeah, no real. Have to hire people. I had a bad accident off those steps there.
Yeah.
I got blood on the brain.
Oh really?
I did all this work, but I had to go to John Hunter Hospital and for 6 weeks and rehab and all that sort of thing, and I had blood on the brain. Now I'm as weak as a kitten. I can only do what I can do.
Yeah, okay.
That office work, and I hold it together, but I have to hire people to do things now.
What do you think about Dangar Falls across there?
Oh, it's magnificent.
It is, isn't it?
It's in a position so handy to the road and that sort of thing. People got to go for miles to see falls.
Yeah.
See falls like that. They've only got a couple hundred yards off the road.
Oh, it's such a nice spot.
Yeah.
This is like prime real estate here for it, isn't it?
Yeah. I heard the big Bob from Sydney said, name your price. I said, not for sale.
Not for sale.
Yeah.
You heard it here first.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen anyone jump off the waterfall?
Yeah, and I have, and I stopped one fella from doing, he's finishing off his beer.
Oh no.
And the fella that jumped off, he landed bad and he swam over to me and he straightened his back like that. had to shout and roar and bellow to stop the other boat from jumping off because he was getting a bit more beer into him.
Yeah, okay.
And yeah, there has been a person killed there. South African girl went over and they seemed to think that when she jumped, she hit her chin with her knees, somehow or the other, and was probably unconscious when she hit the water.
Oh, wow.
And she didn't come up. They didn't find her for 3 days. And but they've had that. They got signs up, big fines.
Just wondering if you've seen anyone paddle a boat off the waterfall.
I was only on TV. I knew they were going to do it.
Yeah.
They were waiting for the water to come up. Of course, they thought it was going to rain more, and it didn't. It was going down. So they decided to have a go, and they did have a go, and they did go over. But when he was halfway down, he sort of twisted, and he didn't land where he thought he would. He landed about 10 or 15 metres over further.
Yep.
He came up, but it took him a while to come up. Yeah. But anyway, I don't think he had another go on it. I think it might have been the first and last time I've got there.
Oh, yeah.
Very rare.
What kind of tree is it?
I can't tell you, but you'll have to find out. It's one of the rarest trees in the world. One of the best examples there is about too.
Well, thanks for taking 5 minutes with me, mate.
That's all right, Ben. Thanks, mate.
Have a good one. What a legend. And he's been the caretaker of this property for over 50 years, and he's still buzzing about on his little scooter, checking in on everyone as soon as he wakes up at 6:30 in the morning. Oh yeah, they breed them differently back in the day. We've gone soft. Been a nice, slow start to the morning, having a cuppa. Think I'm going to do some yoga, maybe a bit of meditation, which is a bit of a deadly combo in the morning. Something I don't do enough, but I always feel great after doing it.
Eventually, this all has to stop. Level out, then come back up until we reach the very top, because one day all your wheels fall off, so take advantage of your shocks. Do something you've never done. Do someone you've never done. Go someplace you've never gone. Someplace that will scare you some. Be someone you've never been. You feel all that adrenaline? It's medicine to jumpstart the spark inside your skeleton. See, everywhere you are is where you're supposed to be. So hopefully you're hopelessly as lost as me. Because if you're not, you ought to be.
The Explorer 100 didn't even come with paddles.
Yeah, I just went out, did a depth check. It was a bit of a struggle. I had my weight belt on, and I didn't bring any flippers down. Don't know why. But yeah, it was like really heavy swimming out against the waterfall. It was like pushing against me a lot. But yeah, it seems pretty deep. Obviously, can't really check everywhere because I'm not Ian Thor. Current pushing you back so quickly. I'm confident it's deep enough. It's pretty intimidating being down here looking at it. It felt less intimidating from the top. Now I'm down here, wet, shaking. I'm sort of stressing out a bit more now, but that's alright. I'll just work through it. Maybe chuck on a bit of Lose Yourself by Eminem, get pumped up. What a beautiful waterfall though. Unreal. I'm gonna go up there and try not to overthink it and just execute. That's until I'm about to do it.
If you came for validation, then you're in the wrong place. The only certain satisfaction is becoming what you've chased, and there's no running from the inner voice. So it's important that you choose, but it's more important that you know you have a choice. You have a choice. Are you living someone else's life? You have a voice Does it haunt you in the dead of night? Would you fly if you weren't convinced to be afraid of heights? Then who convinced you anyway? They had no fucking right.
I was so close to not doing it. And I remember just like getting into position, the water's like rushing past and I'm struggling to keep my feet in a slippery spot. And I was just like, I remember seeing this acronym for fear and it's like, fuck everything and run. That's your first option. Or the next option is face everything and rise. And I was up there and I was just like whacking myself. I had the raft in between my legs and I was like, face everything and rise. And I was just like, went into like beast mode. It was pretty weird, but you gotta do what you gotta do to psych yourself up. So stoked. I'm fucking frothing right now. I'm gonna go eat some chocolate and I'm gonna go show the 91-year-old caretaker the drone footage of me sending it off. See what he's got to say. You see anything out of place up there?
Oh, yeah, somewhere in a boat, yeah.
I did this about half an hour ago.
You did? Did you do that? Oh, boy.
Who's that?
Look at that. Oh, you're out of your boat.
That's Ben.
No, I'm looking for you to pop up. Oh, I'll be blood.
He's
Hell.
He's diving.
He's diving.
Unreal.
Do I get your approval or am I a naughty boy?
Well, Ben, I don't know what to say. Just silly bee or good on you.
Nah.
It's certainly spectacular, mate.
Thanks, mate. You're the most active 91-year-old I've ever met. Oh, actually, my grandma's, she's pretty good. She's 96 and she still hums around on a little scooter like you.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, these
You got
years,
plenty of time left in you, mate.
Yeah, you hear some stories, some people are suffering at this age.
Yeah.
Yeah, and others who can get along all right. Sometimes I think people are lucky the way they conquer.
Yeah.
Nah, mate, you fucking... Oh, excuse my
You know what I
language.
mean?
Hang in there, you got another 10 in you. I reckon you'll crack the century.
Yeah.
I like to go longer because of my grandchildren, my granddaughters and those really lovely people, and I like to follow them a few more years yet to see how they get on in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can't get better reason than that, really. Any final thoughts? So much resistance at the top of the waterfall, like you wouldn't believe. It was freezing, I was shaking, tripping out, starting to think that maybe some of my mates were right in saying it's not a good idea to do by yourself, and sort of all those negative thoughts were just like bombarding me. Pushed them aside, tried to break it down into the steps that I needed to do, and just kept it simple. Probably the best feeling of my life, flying over that waterfall with a curtain of water surrounding me and just feeling like the whole thing was just effortless. I didn't have to move an inch. And then coming up from the water after being held down for a few seconds, I was just yahooing, like I was screaming. And usually if I'm like that, it only lasts for like one yeehaw, but I was like carrying on like a pork chop for a good minute or two. And then I got in, swam in, and there was people clapping and there was high fives going down. I ended up giving my blow up raft away to two young boys that hung around and they were stoked. Anyway, the resistance showed its face as it usually does. And before starting, a million reasons popped up why I should just wait till I've got better camera gear, wait till I'm with some friends, The list goes on and on. Don't have any friends here. Well, I didn't when I got here. Friends with old mate Bill now. I met a lovely family, 2 middle-aged women and 5 kids. That were my safety crew today. I went over and introduced myself and I'm like, I've got this thing planned that I've wanted to do for ages. And I was wondering, if it goes south, do you reckon you'd call the ambulance? And they were just like, sorry, what? I probably should have like eased them into it a bit more, but they were game. The 7-year-old son even hit record on the drone for me. So camera crew right there. It's given me a bit of extra belief that I've been lacking lately. So if there's something out there that you're dying to do, it doesn't necessarily have to be death defying. It could be public speaking. It could be writing a poem and posting it on social media, asking someone you're interested in on a date, whatever it might be. I think that those are the things we need to go towards. Like over the past 2 years, I kid you not, I've visualized doing something like that off this waterfall. Every time I thought about it, it was like that sick feeling in my stomach. Like nothing else has so consistently scared the shit out of me. I used to really avoid getting that feeling, but now I feel like that's a sign that I'm onto something. Lean into those butterflies. Don't let them fly away.
I was willing to spend days watching Jon Snow save them all, and yet couldn't spare a few minutes breaking down my own walls. If someone had said Victoria's Secret Angels, I'd think, ooh la la. And if I was asked about my amygdala, I'd go, huh? It helps us process our emotions and memories associated with fear. Learn to regulate your emotions isn't the concise advice I wanted to hear. I'm skeptical when the secret recipe is so simple and clear. Practice, visualize, research the power of your breath. Always take the time to go out and do a proper depth check. There's so much to be discovered by facing your fears and diving in. Although my greatest breakthroughs have come since I've begun to search within. Adrenaline is momentary, love can last forever. Instead of sidestepping our problems, why don't we tackle them together?
Do you mind if I put you in the film?
Well, I think you might break your camera.
I think you'll make it that much better.
You think it would be?
Yeah, for sure.
Oh well, I suppose.
Oh, I suppose.
Thanks, mate.